A to Z in relationships, day 15, alphabet O. And the word that I've chosen for today is offended. What I've observed around me, wherever I go, I just notice that nowadays we are so easily offended. We are offended for anything and everything. If someone does not message us back, we're offended. Someone does not smile, we're offended. Someone jokes, we're offended. We are so easily offended people nowadays. I mean, some of us, if someone breathes in front of you, you'll get offended. Okay, that was an exaggeration. But what I'm trying to say is that we have become extremely touchy and so easily offended. And the problem with offense is, whenever offense comes, it brings along its best friend called bitterness. So when offense comes, your heart is filled with bitterness. And whenever that person's name is mentioned, you have some rage, anger, feeling of revenge, frustration, irritation, and so many things happen in your heart because you're offended. And because you're offended, your heart is filled with bitterness. And I'm telling you, bitterness is not good for your relationships. Bitterness is so unhealthy for our relationships. But the question, why are we today so easily offended? Why? The answer is very simple. Because we have big egos. Because of our ego, we are easily offended. Nowadays we have big egos and small hearts. So the bigger our ego, the easily we are offended. The smaller our hearts, the easily it is filled with bitterness. I understand hurt. I understand some of you have been hurt by your loved ones. Someone you really love, care for, you have a genuine relationship. You have given your best, your everything in that relationship. But that person has done something intentionally against you or said something against you intentionally. I understand you are hurt. But let me tell you, hurt will not land you up in a place of bitterness. Because you are hurt, you will not land up in bitterness. You are hurt because you love. And if you love somebody, you cannot have bitterness in your heart against that person. So for me, the sign, if bitterness seeps in my heart, I just differentiate and I say, I am not just hurt, I am offended. If you are hurt, it's okay, your heart will be hurt, you will be sad, you will feel very emotional, you will be in grief, but you will not have bitterness for that person. And as soon as bitterness seeps in, you get to know you're not just hurt, now you're offended. Your ego is offended. And as I told you, offense brings bitterness, resentments. One man said it very nicely. He said, there are no justified resentments. That means I cannot blame anybody and justify that why I have bitterness against so and so, I have resentment against so and so. I cannot justify it. And when I heard this statement a few months back, I just want to keep up to this statement in my life. What I am trying, what I am meditating these days is external should not affect my internal. People around me are external, life external, circumstances external, everything which is external, I don't want it to affect my internal peace, joy and happiness. It's so sad if my happiness depends on the way people treat me. My life will become miserable. Reason is simple, people are imperfect, they are lacking, they are weak, they have their limitations. So if you expect people around you to always do the right things and keep you happy, your life will become miserable. I'm telling you, you have to have a big heart where you can release people, forgive people, not a small heart filled with bitterness. The reason I took this word offense today is that most of us, we say we are hurt, we are hurt, we are hurt. But most of what we call hurt is actually offense. Because we only limited people in our life, we have given the right to them that they can hurt us. Some people who we really love, we've given everything, they can hurt you. And the people who hurt you, I repeat, you will never have bitterness against them. You'll be sad, you'll be grieved, but no bitterness. But your big ego, that will always be offended. One day I heard a voice in my heart and I believe God spoke to me. And it was like, if you are offended, the problem is with you. I said, God, that other person did the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, and the problem and the issue is with me. Why is that? Because and then I realized the revelation that it is not me who gets offended, it is my ego that gets offended. So I always say it like this: be yourself, and if in being yourself people's ego is offended, let it be, but never hurt someone's heart. That is my principle. I don't care if people's ego get offended, but I don't want to hurt somebody's heart. So what I just want to conclude and say is that I want to encourage you that have small egos and big hearts, so that your heart is not filled with bitterness. You can easily forgive, release people, and have a small ego, so that you're not easily offended. So easily offended in life, it's such a miserable thing. And I know we all have, he should come and speak to me, he didn't message, she didn't do. We are all so filled with I, me, myself, and all. I just always say that most of the pain in our life is because of self-centeredness, and most of our tears are because of self-pity. So we are full of ourselves, we are full of ego, and when our ego is big, we are easily offended. So please keep your ego small and your heart big. Forgive people, give them grace, give them love, give them understanding, and it's okay, people are imperfect. Don't give your remote control in the hands of people. You are not how people treat you. So don't get so easily offended. Forgive them, release them, and this bitterness in your heart is not good for you. A lot of you who are not well or physically sick for a long time, maybe the cause is bitterness. Just search your heart today, and if you have any kind of hurt or bitterness against your loved ones, forgive them, release them, and just that is the best thing we can do. Because when we have bitterness for somebody, we are in a prison. It is the double punishment for us. We are punishing ourselves when we have bitterness for somebody. So please release people, give them grace, and enjoy your relationship. Keep your hearts big, keep your ego small. I'll come back tomorrow with one more alphabet, and I'll share on relationships. Bye-bye.